Just wanted to make sure you can see the Steelers. You know, did somebody say undefeated? Yeah, I think somebody said undefeated. Compound B, it's only been 3 games. To the Break Room Classic Film fans, it's tea time for a coffee break.
Can you get Cab Calloway on it?
Can you get it?
That's my pantyways sugar.
I'm shocked by the gambling is going on in here.
By the way, how is your father?
The hidey-ho.
But I want to know, does it bother you?
Welcome to our October session of Cinema Cafe. Left the coffee table with A Farewell to Arms and Dorothy Dandridge. Thanks to everyone who joined in and your interactions and for all your lovely comments. I really appreciated it. And 2 costumes from my wardrobe closet, the Dames, as our Fashion Friday pieces. This week we continue our print to screen mini-series with a group travels by boat, returns back home, and puts on a show. I had to remember that. The 8th wonder of the world, King Kong. Thought this being October, it would be a perfect time to coffee talk the 1932 novelization of King Kong by Delos W. Lovelace, the W for Wheeler, conceived by Edgar Wallace and Marion C. Cooper. King Kong, that is, not Lovelace. Okay, all clear. I bought this book around 2010 while working on a project. That particular morning before starting work, I stopped by a bookshop I used to frequent as I waited for the rest of the party to let me know that they were ready to start the day's work. Why is no one ready? Not anticipating on buying anything, it was strictly a pass the time window shopping stop when my eyes, drawn to anything classic cinema related, saw this book on the shelf as if it had my name on it, personally signed. You guys know how that goes. Super cheap, talking like $2 maybe. Thought, why not? You know, I love the film. It is a family classic film watch for me. My dad associates it with his youth constantly. And my mom and I loved the 2005 adaptation. It became a mom and I film. I'm sure I've discussed that term with you guys before. If not, we'll cinema coffee chat that later. So I was really excited to buy this one. At the time, I wasn't familiar with it having a book release prior to the film or simultaneously with the film, which I then found out was actually a novelization of Marion C. Cooper's screenplay, not the other way around, a film based on a novel. There was later a mystery magazine serialization of King Kong from February to March in 1933 by Edgar Wallace, which according to Master Patrol Kong Count Number 9, it was originally published in 1932 by Grosset and Dunlap, falling out of print until 1965, then reprinted by Bantam Books, then by Ace Books in 1976, reissued that same year by Albin Michel, before being reissued again a year later, falling out afterward until 2005 with the Grosset and Dunlap reissue novelization, which is what we have here today with me, the print that I have here. I have coffee talked this book several times with friends and have campaigned it every chance I get, particularly when it airs on TCM. And I had every intention pre-COVID of making an effort, a strong effort to go see it when it was to be shown by TCM on big screen through Fathom Events back in March. I think because I have not been to a theater to watch a film since my mom, it's one of those self journeys. You have to find your way through it personally. It's not necessarily a group project. So the selling point that really pushed me to want to make the jump back into the theater was that this was going to be the first time it was to be shown on the big screen in a nationwide re-release in like 64 years, which I can't remember. I think they went ahead and showed it. I can't remember if they did or not, but in February I had already stopped and like started canceling any upcoming events on my calendar, just not feeling comfortable, and have really taken theater attendance out of my vocabulary as far as in person ever since. However, I hope one day to return to life in the theater again in the future, hopefully the near future. For me, the 1932 novelization actually surpasses both the film versions I do like, 1933's and Peter Jackson's take with Brody, I'm looking at you, in 2005. Both films sort of capture the book, but both have an alternating factor on one subject that is switched in the other version, if that makes sense. Okay, you'll have to work with me here. I don't know if this is gonna make sense in a way, I guess. Okay, if both the 1933 film add up and the 2005 add up were blended together, you'd come up with the book, almost. Because you find that in the book, it is much more about Driscoll and Anne than Anne and Kong. It's told very much from Driscoll's side of things, his like deep love for her and her dependence on him and her independence on her strength. It's really very captivating and, for lack of a better term, sort of seductive in that sense. You fall so much in love with the romanticizing of Driscoll's need for Anne that, I don't know, it sort of just hits you. And Denham is really a likable guy. Yes, wanting the picture to be made at all costs, but still within reason, not as with Jack Black's take, where he is more of a manipulator. When I think back on reading this about 4 or 5 years ago, as soon as his character was introduced, I saw Leonardo DiCaprio's Gatsby-esque kind of fellow. And he's not shown that way in either film, even physically, as described in the book. In fact, in the book, either of the two, Driscoll or Denham, could have been the romantic lead based on their description. It's a book I've definitely wanted to pick back up again to reread because it's so worth it. And I need to be doing that while we're staying home more. So, all my fellow Congettes who have read the 32 novelization, I raise my book to you. If you haven't read it, have it stacked on the shelf somewhere, and have not gotten around to it, pick it up and join the book club. It's a smooth, quick, easy read that gets to the point while being enjoyable every flip of the page. Okay, setting my coffee down as we batter up to Fashion Friday. This week from the wardrobe closet comes a piece that was quite the phenomenon in my collection because it is a piece I had drawn sometime prior to creating it, sketched, and just lined in my portfolio with the rest of my sketches, having every intent that this was going to be a print. If I couldn't have textiled myself, I'd basically have to manually create it on my own. When fabric shop ahead, later, remember walking into the fabric warehouse, portfolios, cards, which we have discussed before, the process, and my let's get to work attitude, and ran across this, the actual, like almost the exact actual print, and was shocked. Literally shocked. I couldn't believe it was so on point to what I had drawn. It was sort of scary to see it in person without having shown or told anyone the print in which I had sketched. The only thing missing from the print on the fabric was the huge flower I had sketched up for it for the back of the garment, because as with most pieces with my sketches, I draw both front and back, particularly when the back has a statement of its own that isn't naturally defined by the front. Does that make sense? Am I coming out of left field? Okay, in short, the floral flower we get in the back when the model actress turns around was manually designed, painted, and placed on the dress by moi. It is one of my most fave and treasured pieces in my collection because it goes a bit further than just me creating my sketch and turning it into a garment through fabric on a machine. It's more personal, as with pieces I have to create by hand, because it is done strictly by my own hands, which makes the appreciation, the satisfaction of it all the more gratifying. And I am most grateful of you sharing your time with me as we have Cinema Coffee and Fashion Friday today around the coffee table. Hoping to see you next time when we meet again. Until then, be safe, be well, stay healthy, stay smart, and we'll Cinema Coffee talk next time. A bientôt. Yeah, this is only going to take like 6 minutes. I'll be finished. Hour and nighttime later. Am I coming out of left field? I must be coming way out of left field. That took way too long. Way too long. All right. And that just fell on the floor. And that's it.
Can you get Cab Calloway on it?
Des assiettes sans assiette.
That's my patty waist
Des
sugar.
hommes qui
Gambling is going on in here.
By the way, how is your father?
But I want to know, does it bother you?